Okay, I guess I'll start. Let me screen share. Host, we got to enable it real quick. Okay, so I'm Luke. I'm gonna be going over the basics of Vim. I'm gonna introduce the editor, and I'm going to give you a rundown how to get started on it. So Vim is a highly configurable text editor, and it's designed for creating and editing text very efficiently. It's very lightweight. It's installed on most OSs, and it has incredible key bindings and the ability to program it. When you type VI into a console or a terminal, you're going to notice you'll get a screen that looks like this. It's pretty standard. It gives you a couple of basic commands on how to use it, but yeah, it's the reason I recommend people take a look and consider using Vim is its versatility and its efficiency is unmatched. In fact, it's so powerful that other editors like Visual Studio Code and IntelliJ, they come with Vim modes just because the idea of using a mouseless setup like this is just so efficient. It's also quite ubiquitous. You'll see it again in Apple OS, most Unix systems. It's a staple with servers. If you SSH into them, you'll find Vim there too. So it's very, very useful. If you find that you like to have a lot of auto completing and you want more power over what you do with it, Vim is fantastic for that. It's very easy to do some Vim script. It's not something I plan to really go into here because it's more important to really get the idea of how just to navigate around it. But this is a really powerful text editor that gives you the chance to take advantage of a lot of plugins and tools. You can even use Visual Studio Code's own autocomplete inside of it with a little bit of setup. On top of all this, you'll find that Vim is compatible with just about any file format out there. You can easily program in Java, Python, Ruby, C, assembly even. Like there's very, very low level support here and very easy to look at code, very easy to modify it, and works everywhere, super stable. You will have a very hard time ever finding a bug with Vim. So to get started, what you'll really want to do is you want to get the hang of using the terminal more. It's something that it has a little bit of a learning curve, but you find that in the long run, you thank yourself for doing it. It's much quicker than going through a GUI. So you can execute the command VI and then your file name with your file extension from the terminal to edit any file. If the file doesn't exist that you try to that you specify, it'll just create a file with that name and format. One thing I use this commonly for is for readmes. It takes 2 seconds and I can throw a simple text in and it's still so easy. Additionally, if you aren't quite ready to jump from your current editor to Vim, there's plenty of plugins in the Visual Studio Code store in this extensions header, and you can find them there. They're free, and you can remove them at any time if you don't like them. Once you have that and figure out that basic stuff, you can just hit Vim tutor as a different command, and it'll give you a small little tutorial on how to use Vim. It's kind of a game, but not really. It's more like they have you learn it by interacting with the terminal itself. They teach you how to move around, up and down, like use your H, I, J, K, L keys, teach you how to delete words, how to save and write. If you're a Windows user, you're going to find that you probably don't have Vim built in. It's one of the only OSs that doesn't. Thankfully, this isn't a big deal in the professional world because you won't encounter Windows operating systems too often. what you'll want to do here is you can download Vim from Vim's website. It's should be a one-step process. I can also help walk anyone through that if they have issues getting that installed. But for now, for the duration of this presentation, I will mainly go over tell you some more information about Vim. So the other big thing to know is that Google is your best friend with this editor. There are so many ways to do things efficiently that you want to just be mindful of it. If you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over, you're hitting J 10 times instead of typing maybe 10J, or like if you want to get to a certain line number, you can just do like the line number, then followed by GG. You'll jump straight there. So like if you don't know a lot of these things, it's you'll find that you're wasting time that you could be saving. Your hands are staying on the home row pretty much the whole time. So there's no reason not to just Google it once and maybe twice, 3 times until it's in your muscle memory. Once you do it, you're eventually like, you're a wizard. You're typing so fast, you're getting everything done at once. So yeah, it's definitely worth looking for the most efficient way to do things with this program. One more thing to note is that Vim is an editor that will resist you a lot. If you try to fight it and do things the old-fashioned way. If you're trying to just use your mouse on it, you're gonna find that things are very not intuitive. It's gonna feel really confusing. You want to embrace its the style it has. It's very efficient, but it's difficult to get the hang of. So in Vim, when you enter the editor, you'll be in something called normal mode. Normal mode will allow you to type in normal mode commands. These commands will allow you to do things like write to the file and save, and you can quit the editor from there. There's a lot of jokes you might see on the internet about this. Some people saying they've been using this editor for so many years because they haven't been able to get out. Really, it's there's some really useful commands to know here, but these are the ones that to get started you really got to know. You can always Google if you need to know more. If you know how to move around, you know how to quit the editor and save to it, and you know how to enter insert mode, which is going to be pretty much your own text editor mode where you can actually type text into this stuff. It's great. You'll have other keybinds like X will let you delete in the normal mode, but they're all things that you'd see in like Vim Tutor or with practice over time. So yeah, these are the basics. And the last thing is it's just don't give up. It's again this little joke here is pretty true, honestly. You don't get to start off on a crutch. It doesn't let you it doesn't let you use it until you learn it, really. It doesn't mean you have to learn everything about it, but you learn it. It's pretty much impossible to use until you learn how to learn those must knows. But you learn as you practice, and it's forcing you to learn efficient keystrokes. They're compatible with other programs a lot, like Firefox. Some of the keystrokes I use are compatible with it, so it saves me time, and it really does improve your programming speed. And one might argue that you spend more time learning in it than you do saving when you're writing it. But when you're when you're programming for a decade plus, your quality of life is just important. I also want to point out that all the bigger IDEs out there that you might come across, like IntelliJ or JetBrains products, they cost a lot of money. Vim is free. It's been around since the 70s. It's survived that long, which is a testament to its quality and its versatility. And I just can't recommend it enough. So that's all I've got with this part. I'll go over a little bit of the power of it, but really it's something that you experience for yourself.
Can you go back to the must knows slide real quick?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
So I'm going to pull up a VM now with a very fresh installation of Vim. So again, to get in with most terminals, if you have a Windows command prompt, you'll need to install Vim. from their website. I will show that link after this. To start the terminal in, or to start Vim, you can just type VI. When you type this, you'll get one of these screens. I'm going to leave it, which is Command Control C. Oops, I just actually pressed the wrong keybind. I killed my VM. Okay, so I'm going to enter Vim Tutor. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what this looks like. It's not on this computer. So it'll look something like this. It gives you a brief overview on how to use the program. You'll see things like moving the cursor. It'll give you some instructions to help build into your muscle memory. I did this a few times before I actually learned how to learn the keystrokes, and it feels pretty intuitive once you get the hang of it, but this goes on for quite a while. So you see it just keeps going, but it's each one of these give you more and more fancy things. If you want to know how to like replace multi-line things with like multi-line text and like specific patterns, you can do all that with Vim. But that's that. Let me pull up an actual file and show some of the basics there. Go back to the VM. So if I run vi word frequency main / main.py, this is what I'm a project I did in another class. You can see I have a very, very blank vanilla Vim file editor here. So right now what I'm doing is I'm using a keybind to jump between blocks of text. This comes in handy when you're sifting through several blocks of methods and you're looking for certain keys. Say I want to start looking to maybe I want to select a couple blocks of text. What I could do is I could enter visual mode by pressing V after making sure I'm in a normal mode. And once you're in that mode, you can just start selecting it the same way as before. It starts to really come in handy when you're trying to rapidly go through a lot of text, remove or even rearrange text. And you can get out of it just pressing escape. If you really wanted to, you can even figure out some more complex logic and you can replace parts of the lines at certain characters. There's other commands too. If you want to comment everything out there, it's pretty straightforward with the same style of attack. So from there, I mean, a lot of this is just going to be about figuring out what keybinds do what. I'm pressing B right now while I'm in normal mode, which stands for going back a word. And I can press W in the same fashion to go up a word. If I want to move up or down the page, I'm just pressing Control B, Control F. Comes in handy with longer pages. You can maybe even get a plugin that makes it look really fancy when you're doing it. But that's a pretty good overview on the basics of what Vim is and what it can do. This is really just scratching the surface of its power, but you can get an idea of just why it's been around since the 70s and has not entered the world of dead editors. I'll go back now to that thing about Windows and installing it there. So on Vim's website, they will have a download for Windows. I don't have a VM for Windows set up at this second, but it should be relatively straightforward. Just go to vim.org and you can find something like that and just install it. So I think that's about it for that. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've got. If anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know.
earlier, but I forgot what it was. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.